All right, what's going on, y'all, man? Your boy is back with another one on the grind. One more time. I thought I'd bring you a different type of video here in regards to these opera lights. So, as you saw from a couple videos back, I installed an opera light on my center console on my Caprice. So, this opera light is from like a 80s Pontiac Parisian. It was sitting right on the basically right on the top of the quarter panel behind that quarter glass. I wasn't looking for one. I don't even know what I was looking for that day. It was so long ago, but I know these are really hard to come by. And if you look on eBay, some people are selling these used for like $200 to $300, depending on which ones. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's off of a Caprice or Caddy or a limousine or whatever. I just decided to take it since it was there. I did not know at the time that these were actually ran off a inverter. I guess the inverter is what basically powers these like panels. So in the inside they're called EL lights, and they're just like little small like paper thin lighting panels. And I guess that's how they're powered. They basically run through a 12-volt source, and then through the inverter, it somehow distributes the voltage to these lights to power them up, unlike a traditional, halogen bulb or something like that. So you need an inverter to power these. Most of the time, these lights don't work, and you can replace these panels. As you can see, there's like 4 plugs in there. You got a power and a ground, and then you have another source that plugs into them. You can replace these panels. You can buy EL or electroluminescent panels, I think they're called, and you can wire them in. However, you can also buy strips that are already wired in and powered. You would just have to find a way to stick them in there on your own, and then find your source to power them. I've done some research because the one that's powered inside of my Caprice right now is actually run off an inverter that's battery powered, and I'm trying to figure out a way how I can power it up through my car. And I was looking online, and they sell inverters that you can buy that plug into the strips that I have, power them through a 12-volt source, and the inverter that's already attached and wired in will actually power these up. So it was like $10, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just get that. So that should be on the way. Hopefully it works, and that little inverter will power up to a 5-meter strip of one of these that are about this wide, up to 5 meters long. So I'm gonna get it in the mail. Hopefully it works, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna power them up to turn on when I turn on my interior lights. So that'll be pretty dope. Also, the light is blue, and that's what I wanted to match the interior of my car. With that said, this video is about how you can frost the lens. So I don't know if you guys can really tell, but I've already sanded some of this down. So you can see it's kind of frosted on the left side, and on the right side it's still kind of clear. They came clear, and they have like these little slots inside to, I guess, kind to not really distort the light, but I don't really know what those slots in there are for. Maybe to magnify the light somehow, I don't know. But what I decided to do was frost it so you can't really see inside there, and that way if I wanted to put like LED strips in there, or in my case I'm gonna replace it with the EL light, it's just gonna be one smooth light. Even with the LED, well, my original thought was to put the LED light strips in that have, small LEDs, but I didn't want those dots of lighting to show through these. I just wanted one solid light like these EL lights have, and I just thought the frosted lens would look a lot better. So that's what I'm doing, sanding these down. So this is a 180 grit sandpaper, and all I'm doing is just lightly scuffing the surface here to kind of get it roughed up and get it to that kind of frosted, hazy look. And then from there I'll just go to a finer sandpaper, sand it down, finer sandpaper, sanding it down, keep sanding it until it's like really, really, really smooth. And then on top of that, what I'm gonna do is I have some frosted glass paint. You can actually buy that at Lowe's or Home Depot, and I'm going to top it off with some frost paint. And I'm only gonna sand the outside, but I'll probably put the paint both outside and inside of the lens. So once I'm done sanding this down, I'm actually going to take a razor and cut the lens off, so that way I can eventually replace the light and then go ahead and paint this and then put it all back together. I'll also cut this off too, that way it can sit flush against my console. So enough talking, let me go ahead and get this done, and then I'll chime back in here in a little bit. Alright y'all, so I'm outside here. My girl is having a meeting inside, so I didn't want to be too loud and inside there, but I hit it with a 180 grit, and then I didn't have any sandpaper in between 180 and 600, so I hit it with a red Scotch Brite Pad. I felt like I was probably coarse enough in between, and then I hit it again with a 600, and it's actually really smooth right now, and it's pretty frosted. You guys probably can't really tell too much right now, but I'm gonna actually go ahead and hit it with an 800 just for a little bit added assurance and smoothness, see if I can get it a little bit more frosted. And then after that, I'm going to take a razor and take this lens off of this little backing plate here, and then go from there. All right, y'all, so this is what it looks like all torn apart again. This is what the inside of it looks like. And that's the lens. So this is the light strip that I'm talking about. And I actually cut through it on accident. But it's like paper laminate thin, y'all. And it's hooked up to these little copper strips. From my understanding, it has a positive and negative. And then it has two other leads, I think that comes from the inverter, and that's what basically helps to supply power to light this thing up. So the EL light that I have is actually this almost this exact same width, and it comes in like a how long is it? I think not 5 feet. I think it's about a 2 foot roll. And what I did is I actually just cut it to fit, and then wired it in. It was already wired, so I cut it to fit, and then used double-sided sticky tape to lay it down. And then I put this lens back on it like this. And I actually, instead of gluing it together like this was, I actually had to take this off camera, or take it off and do it off camera, because it was so fragile, y'all. I actually cracked the back of this like right here. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. And so I had to do it off camera because it was just so fragile, and I had that razor and I didn't want to cut myself. I just cut it to fit, and then use a double-sided sticky tape and put this on, and then I put the lens back on, and I just used just like Scotch tape or something like that to kind of tape it to it. You're not going to see it anyway because it has a nice frame that goes around it, so you won't be able to see it anyway. So I did that instead of gluing it together. That way, if I ever needed to change the light again, or if I wanted to take it apart to change it or something, I could. So yeah, y'all, so I'm going to go ahead and finish getting this lens cleaned up, and then I have oh, and I'm going to paint it, and then I'm going to cut this part off, and then just start piecing it back together. All right, y'all, so this is the stuff that I use. You can get this probably pretty much anywhere, I would imagine, as far as Home Depot, Lowe's, Ace Hardware, or anything like that. It's just a frosted kind of tint glass. Leaves a semi-transparent finish, so you can still see through it, but it's not totally frosted out. All right, y'all, out here just finishing up frosting the glass and attacking the next phase of this opera light here. So again, I apologize for one hand, y'all. Again, I don't have anything back here to set this stuff on. I'm trying to get you guys in some lighting so you can see. So this had this little deal on the back of it where you plug in the wires on the original setup. And since I'm not going to be using that, I went ahead and cut it off. So I'll throw that away. And I don't have to make it totally smooth because it doesn't need to be. Like I said, it's going to be sitting in a different type of it has actually a rubber backing that this sits on, and then it has a chrome accent kind of frame that's going to go around this, that's going to cover all this and hide it anyway. So none of this has to be totally flush. So what I wanted to show you guys is this is what the EL tape looks like, already wired in, and it has a battery operated inverter. This is actually the rest of it, so you can actually cut it to fit. And this is in a roll right now. It's probably about maybe 2 feet long, or maybe 3 feet long. But you can just cut it down as far as you want, and then the rest of the end will still light up, and you have this as extra. There is a way you can actually wire this in. I think you need like some copper. They're like kind of like copper wiring that are flat, and I think you can hook them up, because I think these EL lights have 2 sides to them. It's kind of like a positive and negative, but you have to like open them up and do all that. I was gonna try to attack it, and I actually tried to open one end of it up, and it was just too hard. These things are like $8 anyway, so I just went ahead and ordered another one that's already wired in. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take those two, my one that's hooked up right now and the new one, and I'm gonna tie the wires in together to the inverter that I bought, and hopefully that'll work. And I'm gonna tie those power leads into the interior lights, and then that'll power through the inverter and hopefully light these up. All right, yeah, I got the opera lights installed, and they are on. I really like that, y'all. So I have it inside of the console. Sorry for the beeping. My OG chimer still works, y'all. All right, yeah, a little bit better. So I'm gonna have to make this quick before my battery dies on my GoPro. So how did I do it? Don't mind all this wiring mess. And why I pulled the wires up and over like this instead of hiding them in the console is because I would have had to drill through the console in order to kind of hide and feed the wire in through the side. And I really didn't want to do that, because just in case I wanted to take these off at some point and move them to a different location or anything like that, I really didn't want to do that. So what I did is I kind of hit them from the back and routed them up here, and then my cover where my tablet sits on would actually cover that up, and you wouldn't be able to see that anyway. You would just be able to see only like a hint of the wiring on the corner, but that's it. So I thought that was a better way to do it versus me cutting a hole in it, because I really didn't want to do that. Also, in order to make these lights work, now on the old school GMs, they had a inverter. Now for some reason, these L tapes or EL tapes or electroluminescent tapes need to be ran off an inverter. So on the old school GMs, like the Caprices and the Parisians and all those, they have an inverter that's usually in the back of the trunk for the rear driver side fender well, quarter panel, somewhere tucked under there. And those inverters are what powered the opera lights. And those things are expensive, y'all. Even the ones that are like used, that people are getting off of junkyards or wherever, and they're selling them on eBay, super expensive. I mean, I'm talking like, I think the last one I saw was like $80 or something. Like, it's just something ridiculous, y'all, for a used one. And you can't find them anymore. They don't make them. I tried to go to junkyard to find a couple and couldn't. I didn't know that they ran off inverters, or I would have just took the inverter and when I took these, because I took all the wiring and everything that came with it, the harness and all. I didn't know that it was tied into an inverter unless I just unplugged it and just forgot. They make newer style inverters anyway, cheaper too, and this is just probably from China. And these EL tapes are really inexpensive as well. They come with a battery operated inverter that just takes 2 AA batteries, and they come off a switch. and then you can power them on, which is actually really cool because the inverter that they come with comes with 3 different settings. It comes where the lights are on all the time. It comes where they do like a 1 to 2 second blink, where they blink kind of like every 1 to 2 seconds, and then it comes with like a quick flash. So I thought that was pretty dope, but I would have to always turn it on a different switch, and then I would have had to hide it. I think I was hiding it originally back here, and it just wouldn't be as convenient. So I ordered this off Amazon. It took probably about 2 weeks to get here. Far smaller, far less complicated, because the inverters on the old school GMs have like 5 different prongs on the inverters. It looks like an oversized relay. That's basically what it looks like. And it would have just been a hot mess to try to wire that thing in. So this right here, all it does is takes a pigtail to plug it in, and it comes that way. And then I have a Y pigtail that I ordered also. They were like $4 for like a pack of 8. And then the Y from the inverter, from the plug from the inverter goes to a Y, and then the Y goes to the 2 opera lights on the side. And all this does, this has another end that has a power right here and a ground, and I have that tied in to these orange and black wire here, and that just comes straight from a power source from my switch right here. And I just have it grounded to, somewhere on the car, and have it all tied in. And so when I pull the switch, they turn on, shut them off, boom. So yeah, y'all, it looks pretty damn good. Very, very easy. And again, I don't necessarily like, that look, but you will never see it because it'll be covered by this anyway. And then I can hide all the wiring back here. Don't even have to worry about it. And then I will be good to go. So let me go ahead and put this on so you guys can kind of see what it looks like all together. Yeah, so I got the light turned off right now. I didn't realize how annoying that beeping was over the camera until I actually looked at the video and listened to it. But yeah, so that's what it looks like with the face installed. And like I said, you can't even see anything as far as wiring goes. So yeah, I am liking it, y'all. I am happy with the location. The only thing that I'm not crazy about is this right here doesn't sit as flush as this side. So this side is like really flush. This has a little bit of a lip to it, and I don't really care for that too much, but we'll kind of see how it goes. So I mean, it's not a huge deal, this car isn't, I do shows, but it's not a show car by any means. It's just a driver that I love to drive, and just trying to do some things to kind of spice it up. I mean, I don't know, save those opera lights. They could have been in some junkyard somewhere, or they were in a junkyard, but they could have got destroyed and never seen again. And I wanted to save it and try to use it on my car somewhere. And for now, I think that's pretty good. So again, I originally was going to put them on the outside, but I decided not to, and I think that's a good look. So anyways, y'all, I'll turn them back on one more time. Sorry for the beeping, but I think that they look really good. Yep. So turn that beeping off, man. Whew. You guys know what to do, man. Like, comment, subscribe, man. Do all that good stuff, man. Stay with me. You guys know I'm still bringing the heat. And, man, just trying to keep this content going for you guys. And man, just trying to get ready for whatever summer we can have amongst all this stay home stuff. So I'll holla at y'all, man. Stay tuned for more. The Regal's coming. It'll be on the road soon. All right, I'll holla. Deuces out.